Most creators are playing checkers. You're about to play chess.
On cam ready in three, two, one.
This is On Cam Ready. I'm Jamie Maglietta. In this series, Think Like a Producer, we are going to talk about chasing views and why that is keeping you stuck. How if you just shift your mindset to thinking like a producer, you can build a media brand that actually lasts. See, the main problem here is the influencer treadmill. Let's be honest, you've felt it. That constant frantic pressure to post something. Anything. Another trending sound, another viral format, another must try idea that promises a quick hit of views. So you jump on it, spend hours creating, and maybe you get that temporary spike. But then what? The trend dies, and you're right back where you started, scrolling, comparing, and wondering what to post next. That's the influencer treadmill, and it's exhausting. You're creating for the algorithm, not for your audience. You're chasing numbers, not building something that lasts. And here's the truth, that cycle doesn't build a business. It builds burnout. If you're constantly reacting, you're not creating. You're just another voice in the noise, forgettable, replaceable, and running on fumes. But there is another way. Guys, that's why you're here. You're going to shift your mindset. Here's the shift that will change everything. Stop thinking like an influencer and start thinking like a producer. Guys, that's the name of the show here. An influencer reacts, a producer interprets. An influencer may copy what's trending or kick off a trend. A producer studies what's trending and asks, how does this tie into our bigger picture? How can I make this relevant to my audience? See, producers don't ignore trends. They strategize around them. They find angles that keep them relevant and distinctive. They use trends as doorways into deeper conversations, not distractions from their message. See, you can either think like an influencer and jump on the trend and have that viral moment, or you can see that trend and say, hey, how do I make that relevant to my audience, unique to my audience, and then expand upon it? Because you don't want to fall into the trap where people follow you because of this viral video you did, and then you have nowhere to go after that. So you want to make sure that you know what's happening, you're aware of the trends, you're aware of what's buzzing in culture, but the goal isn't really to jump on every single trend. It's to evaluate those trends and produce your own version, your own content, and maybe something completely new. We always ask ourselves, what matters most to our audience today? As a producer in television news for 20 years, every single day it was like, what is the latest development that matters most to our audience right now? What's the thing we didn't know yesterday that we know today? And how can we share that new development with our audience in a unique and engaging way? You can wrap your head around any type of viral piece of content the same way. How can you bring a unique perspective that adds value? So that's the producer difference. Influencers may ride the wave, and you may want to too, but producers reshape it. They fit that current storyline into what they need it to be. When you adopt that mindset, you're no longer at the mercy of the algorithm. You're building assets, content that positions you as an authority and compounds over time. I'm focusing on YouTube. YouTube has longevity, it has legs. So not only do you need to be thinking about the type of content you're creating, but also where. Let's break down my producer's playbook. The assignment desk, that's your content strategy. See, in a newsroom, the assignment desk is where it all starts. It's the heartbeat of the operation, the place where editors decide which stories to tell and why. And you can do the same thing. That's your content strategy. Maybe start with a calendar. Plan your content like programming, not like posts. A producer doesn't show up last minute. They show up prepared. So define your content pillars and when you are going to post about your topics that you've decided to really be consistent on each week. Decide what conversations you want to lead with and see which trends maybe naturally align with them. Ask, what does my audience need from me right now? How does this topic fit into the bigger picture of my brand? You're not avoiding trends, you're filtering them through purpose. That's producer level thinking. The newsroom, that's the other part here, guys. The newsroom. That's your workflow. So in television news, the newsroom runs on systems. It's organized urgency. Some people may say organized chaos, but it's urgency organized. As a solo creator or someone with a small team, you need that same structure. So you may want to start planning ahead and batching some of your work so that you don't have to show up every single day. Script 5 to 10 pieces of video, either for social media or even YouTube, and then sit down and record them, and then edit, and then start scheduling them out. Now, if you're doing long form video like I am, I will record 5 to 10 videos in a day and I'll change out my outfits. I don't have writing days. I have prep and shoot, prep and shoot, prep and shoot. The reason I do that is because as a producer, we would plan, we would prep, we would shoot. So that's kind of how I do it. I'll look at my schedule and think, okay, I have to wear makeup on this day, so I should plan to wake up early and write 5 or 6 scripts that morning so I can shoot those at the same time I'm doing an interview for my podcast, Unknown to Known, or a tutorial for my YouTube channel. When you batch, you protect your focus and multiply your output. You stop creating in panic mode and start producing in purpose mode. If you're someone who needs more time to craft out your content, you may want to have a scripting day and a filming day, and then a day for editing if you're editing it yourself. That is how you would prepare for a batch recording session. You need to start figuring out how much time it takes you to write out your scripts. For me, I will write out my ideas. I then actually send them through vidIQ, get some ideas from vidIQ. That's what I'm doing as of this recording. And then I will put together my own thoughts, send it through ChatGPT. Then I will go back through the copy and I will adjust and ad lib like I'm doing now. And I'll put together my own version of the script. So it's my voice and it's not AI, right? But I do go through the AI process to help pump out some scripts. Still, even with that, it will take me about a half hour, 40 minutes to record a video like this from start to finish. So you need to think about how much time it could potentially take you to batch record long form videos and adjust your schedule accordingly. However, when you have those days where you're prepping and shooting, you can get a lot done and you could have content for months. And don't forget, there are tools out there, scheduling apps and templates and workflow boards that you can use to really keep yourself organized if you are someone who loses track of how much they've done and when they need to start editing and writing again. Now let's get to the anchor. That's where you're building authority. I want you to think of your favorite news anchor. Favorite, guys. Do you trust him or her? Is it because you like their voice, how they deliver, the questions they ask, how they look on camera? Are they steady, consistent? Do you like that they're there at the same time whenever you want news? You need to think about who you trust and why. Now, it may not be a traditional news anchor. You could think about a social media influencer or journalist that you may see pop up in your feed. What is it about them that makes you trust what they have to say? When you recognize that, you need to start applying it to yourself. See, each video is a brick in your credibility wall. You're showing your audience, I'm here. I know my stuff, and I'm not going anywhere. On one of my conversations on Unknown to Known, Cara Costello actually talks about this and says, once you have to say something important, it seems some people struggle at recording themselves on camera because they realize the weight of their words. And I need you to realize you've done the work. You are the expert. in your field, your niche. And now you just need to start putting yourself out there and crafting your thought leadership. I want the press and the media to find you so that you are more desirable as a reliable source. So you need to put yourself out there if you're listening. All right, now let's get to the network. So the network, right, of a newscast, it isn't built on just one broadcast. It's built on relationships. So what I want you to do is stop chasing random views and start building real connections. Talk to your audience as if they matter, because they do. Reply to comments, ask for input, mention your community by name if you can. When people feel seen, they stick around. A small, loyal audience will always outperform a large, passive one. Brands know it, sponsors know it, and as a producer, you'll start to see it too. Just think about the local news. Local news doesn't have high ratings, but a lot of people trust, show up, and those that do show up are engaged. Your job isn't to entertain everyone. It is to serve someone, specifically someone you can help, you can inspire deeply. All right, now the syndication. Repurposing with purpose. See, producers don't create once. They move on, they maximize everything. So they take that long form YouTube video and they can turn it into shorts. They can turn it into other episodes. That's your anchor story. From that single episode that you create, you can pull out 5 reels, a newsletter, a blog post, a carousel, a few quotes for LinkedIn, even a LinkedIn post, an X post, and a TikTok video. I'm telling you guys, there's so much that you can pull from your long form content, especially if you're an author and you're sitting there thinking, I don't know how to plug my book. That'll be another video, but just think through your content and break it down into bits and pieces and angles. And I promise you will see you can produce a ton of content from one long form video. Just this one alone, I could do 5 different videos on each topic. This is how producers work smarter. They build a content ecosystem where every piece feeds into another. You do the hard work once and it pays off again and again. See, the influencer path leads to burnout. The producer path leads to brand longevity. So let's recap. The assignment desk. Plan strategically. Newsroom. Build your systems. Anchor. Grow your credibility through consistent content. Network. Turn your viewers into a loyal community. Syndication. Repurpose everything. And don't be afraid to repurpose it even months later. That's how you stop playing checkers and start producing chess level content. So what's your next move? How are you going to start thinking like a producer? I'd love to hear what you're doing next. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to comment. And if you're following this podcast on your podcasting platform of choice, be sure to leave us a review or reach out to me on Instagram, Jamie_Maglietta. I would love to stay in touch. So if you want more, reach out about my visibility program. You can visit my website, oncamready.com. I really hope that you're enjoying this podcast series. It's all about trying to help you think like a producer. See, producers interpret culture, they try not to copy it. And you can be a thought leader if you start doing the same thing. Now, stick around for the next episode or visit my other podcast, Unknown to Known.